Call the names. Wake the room. Wake the room. Hello, you! Rex! Pam Ray! Naomi! Afastiana! Babbler! Monarch Soul! Jojo! Gray eyes! Fill my eyes! Poets assemble. No masks, no manners. Say it plain or say it broken. Monday night in the garden of enlightenment. Low light lit minds, every line got intent. Clock ticks crooked and the room turns vigilant. Quiet so loud you can hear what the tension meant. Then it slips after midnight, manners get murdered. Nice little masks get cracked by a word or a murmur. Twisted Tuesdays twist truth till it turns on its heel. Clean cut faces go strange when the dark gets real. You can feel that shift, that slick little slip when the grin stays sweet, but the eyes don't sit. Like the room grew ribs, like the walls grew ears, like the hush got hands and it's pulling you near. And the words don't rest, they press, put a heel on the chest, leave a dent in the breath. Every line like a knock from the back of the brain, like you came in one shape. You won't leave the same. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft door dim. To the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets. Wednesday breaks parts and apart, sink down the spine. Half halo, half hazard, both hands in the light. Then the art of seduction walks off through the smoke. Silk on the tongue with the blade in the joke. Books and bards, wakes dust in the depth of the shelves. Old ghosts lean out and start naming themselves. In our coffins all in art, the ache gets a voice. Pain stands up straight and makes silence a choice. Then break on through when the dead boogies wave. When the masses sink but the pulses pray. Echoes in the dark go hunting the fear. That thing with no name starts ringing in your ear. Say it. Don't water it down, let it bite, let it bloom, let it burn through the crowd. Bad company grins like a booze, dressed smart in rhythm and rhyme. Puts a boot through the heart. Late night poets, where the room leans in, where the sharp gets shown in the soft door dim. Late night poets, hear the whole thing shift. From a whisper in the ribs to a line that lifts. From the darkened edge of doubt to the pull you can't ignore. We don't just read the night, we make it something more. Say it plain, say it broken. Late night poets. Some come shattered, some come slick. Some speak honey with a blade in it. Some sound velvet, some sound wire. Some walk in low and take the room higher. Some come holy, some come liars. That's the thing, this ain't filler for the dead space, no. There's a pause for the pen, this is blood with the net go. This is breath with the backbone, ink with the crown, loud mics like nerves, truth laid bare in the round. This is the beautiful mess, the bruise and the bloom, the line that cuts clean and makes a little room. Late souls, wide eyes, all nerve in the dark, a room full of hearts beating hard through the dark. Wake the room, wake the room. Oh, something more. Late night poets. When the clock slips past polite, we tell the truth. L&P, we love you. Stay frosty.
Hello, my freaky darlings, and welcome to Late Night Poets After Midnight Show, where you get to take a walk on the wild side. If you're into the likes of Ginsberg, Bukowski, Getty, Kerouac, and Morrison, then you are on the right night. But please check out our other After Midnight shows. Sit in tomorrow morning with a face and babble as they teach you the fine art of becoming part sinner, part saint. And join Pam for Echoes in the Dark every other Friday morning. Now, these shows were designed to juke and color outside the lines with rich, raw emotions tinged with colloquial language, thereby pushing the envelope to expression and opening up new avenues of thought through pen and voice. So, pull up a chair, relax, and open your minds. I'm Rex, my co-host Pam Ray, and I can't wait to get into and read your words. Morning, afternoon, evening, Pam.
Hey, Rex, how's it going?
Wet.
Wet, huh? Bunch of heavy rainfall, huh?
Yeah.
So basically it was a indoor day and get some extra rest or something like that kind of day, huh?
Actually, yes.
Well, that sounds really good to me. That sounds really good to me. All right. And yeah, so we did not get wet today. We're supposed to have a small chance of rain tomorrow. And we're supposed to have a small chance of rain tomorrow, but today was like 88, it reached up to 85 degrees today, which, as you know, is warm for this, hot for this area. So I stayed inside with my air conditioner, did not do any cooking, did a little cleaning, lots of poetry reading. And yeah, so, you know, and it's just supposed to keep getting hotter. Well, actually tomorrow we're supposed to be reaching up to 88 degrees, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I don't know, but looks like a great some great prompts that you put up for inspiration. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the topic for tonight's show?
Some quotes from Anton LaVey. He was, well, kind of walked in that very same angle of Aleister Crowley. He was a Satanist. He was the founder of the Church of Satan and the philosophy of LaVeyan Satanism. Wrote a number of books: the Satanic Bible, the Satanic Witch, the Satanic Rituals, the Devil's Notebook, and Satan Speaks. He also did 3 albums too, because he's had a bit of a musical background as well. There's Satanic Mass, Satan Takes a Holiday, and Strange Music. Yeah, I guess that would kind of walk in that realm, Mr. Mr. LaVey. Well, he became a local celebrity in San Francisco through his paranormal research and live performance as an organist, including playing the Wurlitzer at the Lost Weekend Cocktail Lounge. Fancy that. Oh my God. He bought a tiger in 1965 as a pet. Well, that does kind of walks down a very strange note of, yeah, being a showman, wanting things to walk his way. Uh, his parties included a lot of up and famous, I guess, well, noted people back there. Chester A. Arthur III, Forrest Jackman, Cecil E. Nixon, and Keith Anger. They came to his parties. Wow. And let's see what else we got. Let's see. In April of '66, he ritualistic shaved his head, allegedly in the tradition of ancient executioners. God, this guy's a total whack job.
Wow. He
Uh,
definitely sounds like quite the character for sure. Quite the quite extravagant. So
well, funny thing is, his image may have also inspired an occult-themed episode for the Wild Wild West TV show called The Night of the Druid's Blood back in 1966, which starred Don Rickles as the evil magician.
oh really?
Yeah,
Huh. So
let's see.
so now where exactly I'm sorry, I kind of missed it. Where is this guy from? This LaVey guy, is he from the United States or
Yes, born in San Francisco. Oh, I actually died in San Francisco, born in Illinois,
oh
Chicago.
okay. Okay, I missed that. Yep. Yeah. Interesting. I really, it's interesting how you can kind of like reading some of the quotes. I definitely found ones that I disagreed with, but at the same time, I found them very intriguing in the inspiration that they offered up. Um, you know, and so now his he obviously became known as the father of the Church of Head Figures, correct?
I didn't get quite that because you phased out.
Yeah, yeah. Did he have any inspiration that led him towards the path that he ended up taking in in his life?
Let's see. Well, he described his maternal grandmother as a gypsy from Transylvania, which was false. She was born in Ukraine. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Uh, well, he did play piano and accordion, so and the organ after that. So let's see. He attended Tamalpay High School in Mill Valley, California until he was 16. He joined the Clyde Beatty Circus and carnivals, first as a roustabout and cage boy with big acts with big cats as his influence. Let's see what else we got.
Hmm.
Uh, he began in '48 working in bars, lounges, nightclubs as an organist. Um, he claimed to have had a brief affair with Marilyn Monroe. There's another one. Geez, this guy's been all over the place. Uh,
Wow.
uh, LaVey met Carol Lansing in 1950. They married the following year. Gave birth to LaVey's first daughter, Carla, in '52. He avoided Korean War draft and studied criminology. Damn, yes, he dipped into a shitload of stuff. Criminology in the City College of San Francisco. Damn, got a job as a photographer at the San Francisco Police Department. Jeez. Uh, then claimed to have dabbled as a psychic investigator, looking into 800 uh, paranormal events. Let's see. Let's just say he kind of walked in that very same realm as Mr. Crowley. Do what thou willst, and make it up along the way.
Hmm. And yeah, I was thinking, I definitely, when you mentioned last week about this topic, that's what came to my mind. I couldn't remember the person's name, but yeah, Aleister Crowley is definitely, they seem very similar in their thinking and their, uh, how eccentric they are. Definitely both seem to be um, quite creative, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but I will say that it does seem like to me that Anton LaVey was very much a entertainer, a performer. I'm sure he also had serious messages, but it seems that um, he was able to a lot of draw people in because of his ability to, speak and to entertain. Um, so I don't know. I didn't get a chance to read that. Now he was also a musician, right?
Yep, organ, piano, shit, and something else.
But did he actually have any, like, did he form a band, or was he just like like,
No,
I mean, I didn't say just, but like.
he played it, like I said, he played in nightclubs, lounges, and he had a kind of a shtick that he went with, which kind of endeared him to the crowd. So I
I
guess
like
from
that.
there on, he just went into everything else. Why not? You know,
I have
it's
to
the
say, the organ would actually be a really neat instrument to learn how to play with those bold sounds. You know what I mean? It's just there's something almost beautifully eerie about the sound of an organ.
well, yeah. Plus the oboe, and he did play piano in the Baptist church as a boy. So damn.
Isn't that interesting how somebody can start out in the Baptist church and work their way to a different path, Just it's interesting the way lives take different twists and turns. Everybody finds their own path. But we have some awesome people hanging out in Podbean. Not Podbean, sorry, the wrong thing. My bad. StreamYard, we have Robbie and T Manzano and Yumpy, and I believe I saw Macris as well. Um, I'm trying to see if I can cut her name in half so I can do less typing. Like I'd like to be able to call her either Mac or Chris. But because then I would only have to type out 3 letters because I'm such a lazy typer. But you know, you know how that goes. But yeah, I think it just unfortunately with today being a holiday, there did not get to be a huge response to the contest, but that's okay. I read through them and the responses you did get, absolutely top-notch quality writes. And we have 3 extra after midnight writes if needed. We have one from Macris, we have one from T Manzano, and we have one from Yumpy. Plus, just in case they're needed, I did put up some of my echoes in the dark. So I think we're looking pretty good, Rex. So
Yeah, because Jacques gave permission, but I can't change the damn. It won't let me change the settings. Can't
who
edit.
gave permission?
Jacques 027 or
Oh,
Jacques
okay.
Jacques.
All right. Well, I will just can I make a note of that? Yes.
And
I
it
will
won't
make
let
a
me.
note and do that.
It
Needs
won't let me edit
reader.
it for some reason.
Yeah, that happens sometimes on all poetry. Like I'll go to edit one of my own topic boards and it'll say like, well, it'll give me the option of either deleting it or blocking the person who made the topic board. And I'm like, well,
Yeah,
I
that's
am the
all I'm doing.
person and I don't want to block myself. So no problem. I just,
You disappeared again. Oh, Pam, where is you? Could be one of them nights. Well, this ought to make for an interesting. Pam, are you there? Because if you're not, you might want to recheck, bounce back in, because you're not being heard. Hello, Macris and John.
that Rex.
Oh, This could prove interesting.
What's interesting?
The fact that you're not here.
Oh, yes, because I accidentally clicked too many times and sent myself back into the void. So,
Except you didn't disappear from the screen either.
really?
Yep.
I did on my end. That's very odd because on my end I disappeared. I so yeah. Well, what do you say, Rex? Shall we go ahead and get this
Yep.
ball rolling? All right. So we do one click there, and we do a couple clicks here, and we have Walk Free by Weaver of Dreams. And she was nice enough to supply us with a SoundCloud. So I'll go grab that. All right.
I bathe in air every day and each night. All I own or might need is in my pack. Azure blue by day, then midnight glow, as I wander with all my life on my back. Save your pity, there is no need for it here. I'm alone by choice, it's what I most desire. Look at your own life, a lowly job and a wife. Then at me, all I need's some wood for my fire. I tried what you have tried and failed miserably, while others' emotions and feelings bled me dry. I have nothing to give. I care for no one. I'm selfish. You will never change me. I'm toxic. Don't even try.
Great read, Weaver. Thank you for the SoundCloud. Very much appreciated. And she took prompt 10. No hoary falsehood shall be a truth to me. No stifling dogma shall encramp my pen. All right, Pam, what do you think?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I really liked this one. Nicely written couplets for sure. And which seems to be a favorite style of Weaver's. I like how for such a brevity, it says quite a bit, and it's interesting to me how there's this turn in the tone. Like at first, it seems like somebody who's really confident in their decision that like they made this decision 100% because that changes in those last couple of stanzas or couplets. I tried what you have tried and failed miserably, while others emotions and feelings bled me dry. I have nothing to give. I care for no one. I'm selfish. You will never change me. I'm toxic. Don't even try. So there's this turning point in those last couple of stanzas that this is a person who has this life, this loneliness, this lack of dedication and commitment to other people because they have been hurt over and over again, and because they have failed. As I said, I tried and failed miserably. And even the simple phrase, I'm toxic. Like, don't bother to get to know me. I'm a very emotionally poisonous person. I have tried this before. I have failed at the life of having a job, having a partner. And so it's just really interesting to me that I think Kate did an amazing job of pulling that off, how she takes that look at someone who just seems as if their overconfidence in their so-called choice really covers up somebody who feels like they will never be good enough for anyone. So just an amazing write by Weaver of Dreams, and very well done.
Nice. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to walk a different road. there's the sense of note in this for me is that save your pity, there is no need for it here. I'm alone by choice. It is what I most desire. That note of look at your own life, a lowly job and a wife, then at me, all I need some wood for my fire. And then that sort of failed miserably. It's only in the fact that he can't commingle within normal society because he feels more at home and ease on the road, whether that's within company of like-minded souls or by himself. The idea on the back end with the calling himself toxic, you can't change me, and selfish. Yes, because he's understands what he needs to keep his sanity and his life on a within a particular sphere that makes him happy. That idea of selfish and toxic is the way to keep everybody at arm's length. That way, they don't interfere. They don't drop in anything that he doesn't need to hear, understand, or want, and he gets left alone to do as he sees fit for himself. Is that selfish? In a manner of speaking, but he's already come to terms that he's happier on that trip alone, wherever that trip may lead him. So, I said that, Katie. Thank you very much. All right,
Oh,
back to you.
absolutely. Well said there, Rex. All right. Up next, we have Reveling in Wicked by Flipsider. And go ahead, please, Rex, and give that a read.
Reveling in Wicked by Flipsider. Bear witness to what I've become. See me as the saint of the evil dead, guilty myself of the killing of some. From hollowed out eyes they've bled. Those in denial of God I fully sense, giving reason to follow me they seize, releasing of their soul in times, no matter how morbidly tense. Witness this macabre beast, severing body from soul with ease. Eyes slit open only of a crimson blood, fangs shredding alike bone and skin, following the supreme lord of the fallen as every dark being should, all with talons crushing the hopeless, reveling in beyond wicked sin. Still seeing me, then you're at my side, corpses filling the very walls of Hades, as their souls wallow in the fiery lake, as our leader steps into our midst, countless demons to him are allied, stepping forward to bended knee for all bloodied fallen beasts' sake. End poem. And flip side, I took prompt two. There is a beast man that should be exercised, not exorcised. There you go.
I have to say, well, first of all, great read as always, Rex. This particular prompt seemed to be a very popular one. And I like where Flipsider went with this. It's very horror essence, powerful, visceral lines. I really like how he takes the idea of the monster coming out, something horrifying, something ugly. It's a transformation, almost like a human transforming into a wolf. It's kind of that werewolf-esque, but the picture obviously isn't of a werewolf, but it gives that feeling, of the complete transformation that happens, that is bloody, and it breaks you, and it's horribly painful. And I like how this can be taken literally, in the sense that it's literal as in a story, but it can also work as a metaphor for how painful it can be to transition, to find a new part of a new self, to acknowledge that, yes, I have a beast inside me. Yes, there is something inside me that is ugly. There is something inside me that is wicked, and it is time for it to be revealed. Um, it is time for it to find its freedom. And I think there are great lines throughout, but I especially like those in denial of God. I fully sense, given reason to follow me, they seize, releasing of their soul in times, no matter how morbidly tense, witness this macabre beast, severing body from soul with ease. And then the whole stanza following that was a strong one also. So excellent dark right by Flipsider, and very well done.
Nice, thank you, Pam. I do like that opening stanza. There is such an easy note to strength when you roll out with "bear witness to what I've become. See me as the saint of the evil dead, guilty myself of the killing of some. From hollowed out eyes they bled." There's such an easy note of strength and admittance, and he holds that true right out of the gate, which is a great way of denoting how fully one dips within uh, the sense of self and what they deem as uh, the angle of their dimension, satanic rituals, whatever that follows with it. And then you got that dips right into the second part. Those in denial of God, I fully sense. Again, that note to I've become the beast. Now you will come to me and worship at my behest because you know what? I have become that which you need to symbolize, idolize, and bow to. So nicely done, Flip. Thank you very much, Flipsider. All right, back on you.
Okie dokie, Smokey. I was just seeing what they were. I was seeing what kind of compliments they were giving you about your wonderful voice. All right. Up next for churches, the sinners that there be, heaven's getting harder to sell. Churches need fear, that's all my own, a one-way trip to go to hell. Nothing sells like fire and brimstone, so churches to meet money goal have contracted with me, so I'm now owner of the church's soul, satanizing me all the time. The Sunday churchgoers I seek, 'cause they're sinners rest of the week. End poem.
Great read, Pam. Thank you very much. And I took number 6. Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had, as he has kept it in business all these years. I did like that quote. It has a bite of humor to it, and also the note of there's a lot of truth in it as well. Because, hey, when you want people to obey, you got to give them an enemy, and you got to give them punishment because of that enemy. So the idea of selling the devil as that notable figure that you don't want to pay attention to, yet you kind of walk that way because, hey, you're branded a sinner, even though you were born with a cleansed plate. You are, since you've been born, you have now become a profitable sinner in the eyes of the church. So you got to, hey, even if you've done nothing wrong all week long, you better go into that little chamber on Sundays in the Catholic Church and you better offer up some sin you committed that week so you can get your penance and pay for that, so to speak. So that the idea of on the back end, the Sunday churchgoers I see, because they are sinners the rest of the week. There's a lot of truth and a bit of pun in that too, because what I just said about the even if you haven't done nothing, you got to make something up, and in that essence of making something up, you actually committed the sin. So it's a wraparound note of hell. You must have done something wrong. We have to have something here. Kind of kind of walks on that note of hypocrisy of yeah, what about the sins of you, Father? What have you sinned about, and who do you confess to? I like it. Pam, what about you, since you read it?
Oh, yeah, I thought this was great. Definitely. Well, first of all, I like the title "Deal Maker." I like the title "Deal Maker," like the idea of making a deal with the devil. Um, and I too really appreciated that prompt and what it had to offer up, because there was that touch of humor, and there's also that idea that sadly not enough people focus on the love of God, because drama sells better. It's all about the dramatics, all about the fear. Um, and I like the use of the word satanizing, because I find an irony in that, like the idea of satanizing Satan, quite ironic. And of course, as always, I'm a Rhyma just has a wonderful ending couplet. The Sunday churchgoers I seek, because they're sinners rest of the week. And that is so true. And I mean, none of us are perfect, but there's oftentimes I feel like there's so many people who think they can get away with hurting other people, with treating other people like absolute crap, because they manage to get into church once a week. I think this is a great rite that, again, not a really long rite. It's Ima's usual style. Very recognizable. But it is that it speaks strongly on that it's rather than being about reaching out to those who need help, it's about selling. It becomes the idea of church being a product to sell, and the fire and brimstone being that product that will scare you into obedience. So,
Well,
excellent right, and very well done by Ima Rima.
I think part of the issue with that was back in the day, most people didn't read, because they couldn't. They weren't taught. They were they were considered lowly, and since it was written in Latin, and they did not want to convey that language other than from themselves. They kept people ignorant by rolling on that note of you must attend, you must pray this way, you must do it this way, you must roll on a matter of control. And especially when they got down to that note of, yes, we can forgive you for all of these sins that you committed as long as you go fight for the holy wars. And whatever you've done during that time before and after, you will be forgiven and entered into heaven. So, plus that note of selling off the idea of going to heaven to those who are a little bit more wealthy, they haven't quite led the very religious life themselves either. So,
Oh yeah, and I mean, you even see though that nowadays with the idea of the selling of religion or the selling of salvation, um, thankfully, I think nowadays with there being more options, like more people obviously know how to read, and there's more options for literature and information out there, that people can make an informed decision on what's the right path for them, as long as they're willing to do the research and really look into things.
yeah, and I think the that note of Henry VIII wanting a dissolution of marriage back in his day helped kind of birth that because he was totally refused, and then he withdrew his allegiance to the Catholic Church, which led down to the Protestant angle and to the King James version of the Bible, which was then printed in English come 1610 or so, I think.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, the personal whims of many a man and woman throughout history has definitely changed the courses of religion, for sure. Scary stuff, scary stuff. I have to say. So, you know.
All right, where we
And
going next?
let's see. Up next, we have doing a couple clicks here and a couple clicks here. All right, we have A Good Magician by Peter Solway. And go ahead, please, Rex.
A Good Magician by Peter Solway. Welcome, wide-eyed children. Seeing is believing. Rabbit out of hat, matchbox, my watched hands tap, even parents to pause a breath. But blue audience, black trick, envy's evil con man, creator of asphyxiated infants, mean piper of recompense, to Gaza tunnel, trumpet death. No, informed students, Jordan Peterson lecturing in France, pacing, thinking, handsome tailored man, lane with cognition, quirky hand movements. Gestures for the Pollock excess, days of job, nights blank. Yes, kiddies, racist cells might put that rabbit back in hat, matchbox, press, submit, and palm. All right, Pam.
Great read there, Rex. Well, I guess we know what quote Peter wrote to by his title. What was that about? A sense of humor? Anyone without a sense of humor is too pretentious to be a good magician. Yes. So, yeah, well, let's see here. First of all, the opening line was spot on. Welcome, wide-eyed children. Seeing is believing. Like he introduces his poem as if he is the magician on stage, as if he is the one fooling the masses. You know, I like how it feels like the voice of a magician, but it also feels like the voice of the con man, or even the charismatic preacher at the pulpit. I looked into Jordan Peterson. I did not read a whole lot about him, other than that he was a psychoanalyst. You know, he is a psychologist. And the interesting spelling of luxuring. That makes me think, because I know from past experiences that a lot of Peter's misspellings are, I'm pretty sure almost every single one of them are misspelled on purpose. And, you know, like, I don't know, having it be, instead of lecturing, it makes me think of the idea of luxury. It I don't know, I just kind of get the idea of an obsession with luxury desires, you know, and you know, and really in a whole, as a whole, and you know, especially the beginning and the end, you know, like the end where it says gestures for the Pollock excess, days of Job, nights blank, yes, kitties, racist cells might put that rabbit back in hat, matchbox, press, submit. I feel like there's this idea of distracting the masses. Like, it actually makes me think of that quote about distracting them with bread and circuses, so that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the bread and circuses quote about distracting people so they don't see what's truly going on. And I feel like that's what this poem writes about. Is it acknowledges that there's racism, it acknowledges that there is evil in the world, but all that is needed is that rabbit pulled out of the hat, that distraction of voice and performance, in order to make sure that people don't see what's truly happening to them. And the fact that Peter put his title in a question mark, I think has a great bite to it. Because it's not like you are a good magician. It's like, are you really sure you're a good magician? Or are you really sure I'm a good magician? So excellent right. And very well done.
Nice, thank you, Pam. I think, well, the title kind of walks itself. Just how good are you? Because within that note of the questioning, just how good a musician you are, walks that note of illusion, and also the padded angle of that, the illusion. Can you allude to the illusion, or does the illusion walk to the illusion of self? So it depends. It kind of walks into that idea of just how much of what you convey walks that line and offers up something people have never seen before, or imagine they've never seen before, or that they are now tricked into believing that it is possible, despite the fact that they know it's not possible. It is that that warped sense of timing where illusion becomes the illusion, as well as the illusion is the illusion. Uh, where you think anything is possible, well, you know it's not, because it doesn't walk that noted angle of how the world works in simple economics of thought. But yet, you still have to walk that line, because the way it's presented is the illusion wrapped within the illusion. So I like that fact that most magicians do walk that such an easy path, and they offer up, because they all work within certain angles, lighting and atmosphere, which keeps you distracted on one angle, because they're alluding for you to be looking somewhere else, while the magic is actually happening right in front of you. But it's not magic. It's just a draw of the eye away from where they want you, by looking in another direction to where they want you to look. So that note of the back end of this might put that rabbit back in hat, matchbox, and press submit, is kind of a note to the this contest itself. The idea of, yes, have I offered you enough to make this a palatable note to, is it magic, or is it just that you're in the middle of my illusion?
Right. That is so true. That is so true. Great comment there, Rex. I actually had to laugh earlier because in my written comment, I told him his poem was hard hitting, and he said, "I'm putting on my pugilist mittens." So that cracked me up. And what else? Oh, here, this is funny. Robbie says only a bad magician brags about the size of his wand.
So claims the guy who brings out his colored Star Wars sword, lightsaber.
So says the guy with the giant mic. All right. Let's see what we
said. You're having so much fun, Robbie. You ought to come join us.
Poor Robbie.
Hello, Yumpy. How you doing?
Yeah, isn't it great to see Yumpy?
Yeah, he's having a good time and laughing. So, yes.
Absolutely. That is great to see, for sure.
Excellent. Good to see you. All right, Pam, what we up next to?
All right. Up next, we have Release the Hounds by Aphasiana. Before bogged too deep in oppression, need to flex our aggression. In peace I preach repression, but now I have a confession. Carving the carnivore out of my essence, taming terrible tendencies with immunosuppressants is no longer an option in society's putrescence. Sharpening my claws in response to empathy's obsolescence. Cancel the exorcist I pled to extinguish my ire. Appears I will need tempestuous fire. And poem.
Great read, Pam. And as it says right up top, Aphasiana went with there is a beast in man that should be exercised, not exorcised. I like this. That note of what was it? Carving the carnivore out of my essence, taming terrible tendencies with immunosuppressants. Nice touch with that. And dropping that note of, hey, I need to get off this stuff because you know what? Society is such as an essence, she puts it, putrescence, that maybe sharpening claws and cleaving out part of the enmity of ignorance and stupidity would be an easier path than putting up with the bullshit. So releasing of the hounds is a nice touch to, yeah. Well, but on the other hand, there is a nice note of you do that with voice too, instead of actual death and violence. So let it out, Aphasiana.
Yeah, I really liked this title, Release the Hounds. It's a great play on words, giving a nod to the prompt, but also to the idea of releasing the hounds to go after, like, say, the escaped convict, or something like that. Great word choices. I love the end rhyme. I love the creative word choices. Like, there's so many words in here that, it's a brevity, but there's these great words that just are these tasty little tidbits, like immunosuppressants and putrescence and obsolescence. I mean, and great end rhyme. I like the message in this one. It's both thoughtful and hard hitting. I like how it speaks to me on how on being able to stay nice for so long eventually wears off. Like, you can only be nice for so long. Yes, it's wonderful to be a nice person and be good and kind, but when people keep taking advantage of that kindness, you need to find your inner beast. You need to release that hound, or release the kraken. You need to find that inner fire and show people that, yeah, I can be nice. But when you're not nice to me, when you step on me, when you use me over and over again, when you use your toxicity against me, you're going to discover my beast. You're going to discover my fire, because you have pushed me too far, and I am going to stand up for myself. So, absolutely an amazing write by Aphasiana, and very well done.
Nice. What else we got next?
All right. Hold on. Just got to clear my throat and make sure I grab the next one. So give me a moment here. And all right. So one click there. And I'm going to do a couple more clicks. All right, we have Stupidly Human by Time Teller. And go ahead, please, Rex.
Stupidly Human by Time Teller. Who's stupid? Said Agamemnon. Prometheus was, said Helen, as Paris lurked behind the exquisitely woven curtain Arachne had done. Does Apollo not give his energy free at Zeus' request, or Poseidon wash the sands clean of the blood of fighting men daily? Are they stupid to follow Zeus? Prometheus was a hero to man. He gave us fire, and Odysseus, do you not beseech Athena for aid, even though she torments you with her capricious intelligence, playing you daily? His liver is pecked every day. Prometheus. That's stupid, said Menelaus. He helped man, and the gods punish him. Like toys, they twist out fates. Tell me which is stupid. To follow love, dreams, desire, to change painfully in order to fit in, to mask one's disgust at the playful fuckery of our lives, to claim we have no sense of humor, or do we painfully refuse to listen to them anymore, refuse to give them credit? And like Prometheus pay the painful price of stupidity in their eyes, but hero in ours. Paris, I know your hiding, and I know your desires, your failings, motives, and plans. Should you follow through, we, the order of things, will see you as stupid, while Helen will love you, your family try to protect you, and those gods, yes, those capricious gods, will play all our fates as if we are all stupid. Is that not enough pain for being stupidly human? End poem. And let's see. Oh, he also took that note of what was it, the magician angle, wasn't it? I think.
I think he
Yeah.
took a one about stupid. Too bad stupidity isn't painful.
Oh yeah, yes. And he also dropped in a touch of the humor as well with that, to claim we have no sense of humor. So I think he played off a couple. All right, what do you think?
I like this one. I do feel like I need to go back and read it again. I mean, I've already read it a couple times, but I feel like it needs to be read again. And I feel like I need to put a little bit more research into it. Like I'm not really sure who Agamemnon is or Menelaus. I might, like, if once I look them up, I probably recognize them. Obviously, a lot of these mythological creatures or people, gods, I recognize Prometheus as being the one who stole fire from the gods. I recognize Helen of Troy, Apollo, Zeus. There's just a couple I don't recognize, but still, even with that, I still have a great appreciation for this rite, the straightforward style, the use of mythology. I like how it, just takes a look at the idea of the failings of humanity throughout history, our own stupidity for which a price has to be paid. I like how it looks to me at that idea of, cutting off your nose to spite your face. The idea of our own foolishness, or how foolish we will make ourselves in order to be considered a hero, to find favor. And that I'm saying there's anything wrong with acts of heroism, but I feel like, for me anyways, part of what this rite is saying is, why are you putting, yourself through these torments over and over again, just to find favor in other people's eyes. And I thought there was great lines throughout, but I did especially like to follow love, dreams, desire, to change painfully in order to fit in, to mask one's disgust at their playful fuckery of our lives, to claim we have no sense of humor, or do we painfully refuse to listen to them anymore? Refuse to give them credit, and like Prometheus, pay the painful price of stupidity in their eyes, but hero in ours. Wonderful lines, and very well done by Time Teller.
Nice. All right. Thank you, man. I think the brightness was clever. I like to note the idea of dripping Agamemnon, Menelaus. Agamemnon was the commander of the Greek army during the Trojan War. Menelaus was the husband to Helen, as Paris took her from. He was Menelaus was the ruler of Sparta at the time and husband to Helen. So yes, there was bound to have a Spartan trouble come on board when you steal another man's wife back in the day, despite the fact that maybe Helen wanted it in the first place, but you have to pay for it, so to speak. The idea she offers up, what was it? Does Apollo not give his energy free at Zeus' request, or Poseidon wash the sands clean of the blood of fighting men daily? Are they stupid to follow Zeus? Prometheus was a hero to man. He gave us fire. And Odysseus, do you not beseech Athena for aid, even though she torments you with her precious intelligence, playing you daily? And the idea of praying to one to offer up, say, good weather or love, good fortune, whatever the pipes may be, yet honoring the note of one of the gods who gets tortured daily for offering up that thought to fire and intelligence, or at least the idea to move forward with intelligence, and then being punished for it because the gods see us as the toys to be played with, and so they offer up one of their own as that notable figure chained to a rock and having his liver being eaten every day by a big eagle, only to be returned daily to have that pain reflected upon their body once more. So, and I do like to mask one's disgust at their playful fuckery of our lives, to claim we have no sense of humor, or do we painfully refuse to listen to them anymore, refuse to give them credit? And there's a quiet note to the transition between the idea of many gods and who to pray for, who to have a talisman in your homes dug out in the walls for, and who is special in your life, so to speak. That idea of having to have a notable angle of many in order to cover the idea of one angle or another, from the air to the water to fire to lightning to whatever may come about. There is a god for each and every single one, and usually the idea here is the gods like to play. And since they are completely bored sitting up there with nothing better to do except, hey, send their wares down to, hey, let's have a child or two with this one because they won't notice this as a dove or a feathered peacock or something else, and let's have another bit of fun with this one, make him half god and half human. Why not? They're bored. They're elitists, and elitists get bored, so they have fun with their smaller pups. And yes, you know what? Once you stop believing him, then all of a sudden that doesn't matter much anymore. So walks in at stupidly human is just how stupid can you be? Well, then again, it is a matter of trying to explain the world in such a way that you can walk within it, at least with part of your sanity. But since then, we've grown to understand a lot more things. Why? Because mentality progresses. Thank you, TT. I like that.
Oh, absolutely. Before we move on to the next one, Rex, I'm gonna need you to please leave and come back because I'm getting like twanging noises and feedback from you. All right, so while we wait for Rex to come back, just remember everyone to keep an eye out on the contests and topic boards put up by Late Night Poets hosts and hostesses, because of course you're sure to find something to inspire. And I'm just waiting because I want to have Rex read the next one. So I'll post the links, but wait for him to come back and bring him on. So, all right. There he is. Add to stage. All right. Welcome back, Rex. Okay, so I am going to have, because we have 3 open after midnight and all those people are hanging on the board and listening in, I'm going to have us go to open after midnight now. So I have put up A Delusion of Depravity by T. Manzano. And go ahead, please, Rex, and give that a read for us.
A Delusion of Depravity by T. Manzano. There are men who stop touching their wives years before they stop pretending to love them. The bed becomes administrative, a tax form, a waiting room with blankets and desire. Real desire doesn't die cleanly, it rots. It leaks into browser tabs at 2:11 a.m., into glowing thumbnails of women young enough to still believe apologies matter. At first, it's ordinary filth. But repetition is acid. The brain adapts. What once felt dangerous becomes wallpaper. So, men wander deeper. They want impact, voltage, something violent enough to break through the numbness between mortgage payments. So even incest porn feels like taboo, then failed medication, and still nothing. Just another clip, auto playing into the next. A man sits in darkness, headphones on, while his wife sleeps 10 feet away and feels no collision between the two realities. No guilt sharp enough to stop him, no satisfaction strong enough to save him, just consumption. No motel receipts, no lipstick on collars, just fingerprints on glass and search history. And the worst part is, most men would never call themselves lonely. They call it stress. But I think the soul can erode. I think there are men who have not felt genuinely desired in so long they confuse disgust for intensity. Men, ankle deep in digital sewage, wondering why they no longer recognize their own reflection. And poem.
Great read there. Great read there, Rex. Wow, this one really hits hard. This is a strong, visceral write. It takes a horrifying and really, like I said, raw look at the balance between desire and depravity. It looks deep at the ugliness of human sexuality, and our own constantly exposed to porn because you know because they're not getting, when a person doesn't get what they need from their partner and going constantly to porn and saying this is okay, so now I can watch this type of porn, and it keeps going further and further until you find yourself basically trapped in this prison of your own mind, this ugliness of not being able to escape from the addiction that your mind, your psyche has developed to porn. I definitely think this is just, this is definitely a right that I could see making people uncomfortable. But I really, as I've said before, I think there has to be times when poetry makes people uncomfortable. And one of those times should be after midnight, when we write about those things that, we otherwise, and share about those things we otherwise don't talk about. um and I like how this does take that realistic view of seeing the ugliness of self when you have fallen so down into that rabbit hole of internet porn. And I think there's great lines throughout, but I especially like where it says, no guilt sharp enough to stop him, no satisfaction strong enough to save him, just consumption, no motel receipts, no lipstick on collars, just fingerprints on glass and search history. And the worst part is, most men would never call themselves lonely. They call it stress. But I think the soul can erode. Wonderful lines and very well done by T. Manzano.
Nice, thank you, Pam. I like the way how this unfolds slowly. It doesn't wrap it in one huge quickie idea. It kind of unfolds itself. Where we go. Uh, and desire, real desire, doesn't die cleanly. It rots. It leaks in the browser tabs at 2:11 a.m. into glowing thumbnails of women young enough to still believe apologies matter. At first, it's ordinary filth, but repetition is acid. The brain adapts. What once felt dangerous becomes wallpaper. So men wander deeper. They want impact, voltage. Something violent enough to break through the numbness between mortgage payments. Okay. And it keeps that pace a little bit, not just a little bit, in little increments to move into the next one. That note of soon even incest porn feels like less like taboo than failed medication. I like that touch. The idea of you brought medication into note because society is overly medicated. Why? Because it's easy for the doctors to write something. Oh, you don't feel good on this one? Here, have this. You don't feel good? Drop this. You're having thoughts that walk this way? Take this. Uh, but nobody gets down to the root of the problem in reality. Then you got he rolls into a no guilt sharp enough to stop him, no satisfaction strong enough to save him. That note of being right there in the middle, on the hump of things, just consumption. No motel receipts, no lipstick on collars, just fingerprints on glass and search history. And the worst part is, most men never call themselves lonely. That idea of just consumption, no more, walks on that note. Hey, there's nothing really bad going on here yet. It still doesn't walk that very easy note of, yeah, should you really be walking this route, dipping into this kind of serpentry, and uh, and then that the back end. I think there are men who have not felt genuinely desired in so long they confuse disgust for intensity. That idea of, well, just like when it comes to news. If it bleeds, it leads. You become inured to the idea of what is being poured into your psyche, your soul, and your mentality, that after a while, it doesn't bother you. And you need something stronger to actually roll up to that note of disgust or that which frightens you. Why? Because you've been dipped so far down the rabbit hole of all those things across the years that you've lived that it truly, really need something hard to bite you in the ass and wake you up to the, oh, damn, that is definitely not right. So nice there, T. Thank you very much. All right, Pam.
All right. And I would like to welcome Robbie to the show. Welcome, Robbie. Glad you
We
could
dragged
join
him out,
us.
huh?
You got me. You baited me with red lightsabers and giant mics. What can I say? Well, to get serious now, because this is a serious poem. Yeah, this is so well written because like you said, Rex, it's increments, right? It's like, well, if I can just bump up to this is just a little more extreme. This is just a little more extreme. And what I found to be so intelligent in this poem was the fact that most guys won't look at it as loneliness. They tell themselves, "Oh, I'm just watching this because I'm stressed." But the thing is well, they'll say that because they don't want to admit that they're lonely. They don't want to admit that they're watching this because they don't have somebody, or because their relationship isn't doing it for them in that. So they lie to themselves and they say that it's stress and it's stress release, right? And yeah, and that it gets like even trickier when you're like when you're as a couple, and there might I saw a comedy skit actually on that with Ian Peel, and it's the husband and wife, and they do a comedic take on something that happens a lot, really, where the wife is looking at the search history, and there's like, what the hell is this? Or conversely, every time she, like in the comedy skit, every time she came home, the search history was cleared, and she's like, why the hell is the search history cleared every time I come here? And so that kind of, when you're a couple, that gets even more dicey, because you're sharing a computer, and they're questioning either the perpetual clearing out of the browser, or they'll see something in the search history and they're like, whoa, what's my husband been watching, what's my boyfriend been watching? And yeah, it gets to be an insidious trap. It really is. And more than almost anything out there, I think. It's by little increments, and that's the thing, is like, when it's like hard, like physical drugs, like there aren't very many increments. It's like marijuana, cocaine. There isn't too many subtle gradations, I don't think, of physical drugs in that. But because you're dealing with the mind, it's the subtle little things.
Nice. Thank you, Rob. All right, Pam, we're back to you.
All right. So up next we have Horrid Sound by Macris. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read for us.
Okay, horrid sound. Harsh, buzz, metallic, spitting, stitching each hour into airlessness. It burrows a live wire, needling inward, threading soft parts into my skull. I would leave if the walls did not rise, bleached bone to hem me in. The doors gaping open, only to consume each passage, every idea of elsewhere. Hope now fraying, drawn like blood from each vein, until sorrow lies empty and unclaimed. My eyes, empty wells, harbor no storm, no tide to rise, no levee breaking. Sky hangs above, blind to rain, seated tight to its undoing. Emptied, a hushed body past any feeling. They quiet me with careful poisons and small white mercies that sand me smooth, stripping every scream. I have lost the nurse, keeper of hours, dispenser of my silence. The air stings, bleach and absence biting to the tongue, flowering pain in my skull. Time bends here, dripping and pooling, a liquid tide around me. Perhaps we eat, perhaps not. It hardly matters. Everything fades, walls leaching surrender, voices thinned to murmurs that circle and dissolve. Even the living move like unfinished thoughts, words slipping away before they can touch me. and I am left in this pale, deluded world where nothing sharpens, nothing sings. God, I despise it here. If I could, if the self that remembers wanting still lived somewhere inside me, I would. But the harsh buzz returns, and the hard metallic cracking, threading, unbroken, end poem.
Nice. Great read there, Robbie. Thank you very much. All right, Pam. Well, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this one, wow. I mean, well, first of all, yeah, definitely a great read there, Robbie. The imagery and metaphors, they're just powerful and captivating. There's such a great use of spacing. This is in a dark right that makes me think of, although not necessarily to this extreme, but it makes me think of the times that I spent in mental health wards of hospitals. Um, and the mention of the nurse, the mention of emptied a hush body past any feeling, it feels like somebody who's dealing with mental health issues or depression. It feels like somebody who has lost a part of themselves, who doesn't, it just feels there's this sadness, there's this brokenness, and they're trying to put themselves back together, but
You phased out again, Pam. Pam, you there? Because you're roboting in and out. Oh, not there, not even in and out. Just
It's
gone.
making a different noise now. It's like buzzing and humming.
Aha.
Oh yeah, I think
Oh,
something different happened because she was
yeah, she's
buzzing
gone
and
now.
humming.
All right, Robbie, since you got to read it, what do you
Yeah.
think?
It reminded me of Edward Bosch. There's a painting I was looking at just today. I was just looking at it in my search. We were talking about search histories in my search history. And this Edward Bosch painting, well, actually, they think that one of his students did it in his studio. Um, it's a painting of like a man's head, and the eyes are hollowed out, and there's like a tree on either side of his ears, or either of his ears. And because like it's when it said, my eyes empty wells harbor no storm, no tide to rise, no levee breaking, that's what reminded me of that. And there's all these little vignettes of imagery, and that's what I saw in the Bosch painting, or the Bosch student. And it's very surreal, that painting. And here there's a lot of like, there seems to be a lot of internalized angst. The harsh buzz returns, and the hard metallic crank, threading, unbroken. That almost reminds me of like tinnitus. It's almost like this would be like a psychological equivalent of tinnitus, like tinnitus of the mind. That actually makes me want to write about that. A tinnitus of the mind, kind of like when you have thoughts that just don't go away. That actually reminds me of like when they say that, I read somewhere, when you get song lyrics stuck in your head, that means you've had something unresolved, like an unresolved task, and it's good to for you to try to figure out what that task is. And I kind of want to look at this poem again a little more deeply to see where that angst and everything is coming from. But it sounds like it sounds more existential, and it sounds like a certain sort of emptiness, because the eyes are empty. And and it says the stanza before that, Hope now fraying draws like blood from each vein until sorrow lies empty and unclaimed. And it's kind of like this self emptying sort of, or self it's like a self desiccation of the soul, where it's very much like we talk about a lot about external forces that drain us, and that, but here it feels more internalized.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta let the title "Horrid Sound." That note of horrid, nobody uses that anymore. I like it. But that note, harsh buzz, metallic splitting, stitching each out into airlessness, that kind of reminds me of like white noise. And especially since Macris walked into this note, you got the live wire needling inward. You've got the I would leave if the walls did not rise, bleach bone to hem me in, the doors gaping, and hope now fraying, drawn like blood from each vein until sorrow lies empty and unclaimed. The idea of slowly being drugged, and that idea of white noise kind of hits a note, because you get that buzz, a consistent buzz that walks through your mind because it's off kilter. It's being taught to walk a certain way, behave on a certain angle because of the drugs that are being poured into the body. Let's see. A harsh body past any feeling. They quiet me with careful poisons and small white mercies that sand me smooth, stripping every scream. I have the lost the nurse, keeper of hours, dispenser of my silence. That easy note to if I uh, murmur or move a bit too much, I get a bit more of that which is keeping me held into. But what I really like about this, even though that body is pretty much inert, and the mind is slowly being dripped into a desensitization, that there is still a little voice in the middle of it that understands the equation being drawn. And even though there's no real angle of uh, psychopathy being drawn out, there is that quiet note to understanding what they are doing to you in the moment. The air stings, bleach and absence biting in the tongue, flowering pain in my skull. Time bends here, dripping and pooling, a liquid tide around me. Perhaps we, perhaps not. It hardly matters. That note of being carefully modified to the point where, even though you understand, you don't have the capacity to draw a note to actually care about what's going on, because you're mollified into a swimming pool of feeling that keeps you apart from everything else. Uh, and I am left in this pale, diluted world where nothing sharpens, nothing sings. God, I despise it here. Again, that noted understanding. If I could, if the self that remembers wanting still lived somewhere inside me, I would. But the harsh buzz returns, and the hard metallic crack, threading, unbroken. Again, that note to the white noise, that buzz of chemicality rolling through the body and mind. Nicely done, Macris. I like this. Pam, you back?
I am, yes. Yes,
Aha.
I'm not sure how far into my comment I got
Not very
before I
far.
went. Not not
Not
far at
far at
all,
all.
huh?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a powerful write. It was strong, it was visceral, it emotive, it had great use of spacing. It makes me think back to the different times I spent in mental health wards, where you feel like you've lost yourself, where you're depending on strangers to take care of you. And there's this sense of just feeling very broken, very like almost non-human, and unable to connect with the people around you. I like how this feels so very cold and metallic and calculated. How you can feel that sense of like there's such a sense of coldness when you go into the hospital. No matter how much people try to make it something comfortable, it never really is. And I thought this had great lines throughout, but I especially like they quiet me with careful poisons and small white mercies that's that sand me smooth, stripping every scream. I have lost the nurse, keeper of hours, dispenser of my silence. Right there, the whole idea of dispensing of the medication to calm the mind, to keep one from falling apart, and yet even with the medication there's a sense of falling apart. So excellent write by Macris and very well done.
Nice. Where we going next?
Well, up next, one click there, and got to do a couple more clicks. So we have The Rosewater Incantation by Yumpy, and it goes like this. Silence wears a halo of frost, its breath perfumed with forgotten lullabies. Shadows bend like orchid silk in the presence of a carnation light that remembers every soul it's touched. The choral air hums a pink incantation woven from the sighs of vanished wings. Somewhere an unseen pulse threads itself through the magenta marrow of night, stitching dream to dream. The mauve moon spills its raspberry milk into the forest bowels, and every leaf drinks in peony prophecy. Even the salmon stars seem forgotten here, as if the cosmos holds its breath for one sacred heartbeat of eternity. Something ancient stirs, grace dressed in fuchsia fur, wisdom draped in rosewater flames. Its gaze blinks, revealing the truth of things, turning silence into mirrors, mirrors into rose quartz mist, bubblegum lanterns of carved, lilting laughter burn bright with spectral sparkles, their flicker whispering words of what has gone and what will never die. And in the repose between worlds, a spell lingers, remembered for all eternity, where moonlight dreams in shades of pink. End poem.
Great read, Pam. Thank you very much. Robbie, what do you think?
The color scape of this was just amazing. I like when a poem has its own palette. When you look, it's like when you look at a painting and it has its own distinct palette of colors, like blues or yellows or whatever. And this poem felt like it had its own palette, which made it so visceral to me, and I could see it in my mind. And it kind of reminded me of what I was seeing earlier today, because there used to be a very strong, unique aesthetic for Windows. Like Windows is the operating system, for computers. And I remember when you turn your computer on, they had the really big sound, almost like in a movie theater, like boo 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 boo, and they had the waves and and then there would be a little bit of background sometimes, like kind of whooshy, wavy music in that. And there's a whole YouTube channel that's retro, and it has music and visual aesthetics based on that, and it's kind of retro, and this kind of reminded me of of very visceral sort of aesthetics and lights in that, and it's just when you look into it, when you look at it, it just draws you right in. uh there's Elsewhere. It was in a video game where you literally stepped. It was like there's a lot of magic in it, and you literally stepped into the painting. And when you stepped into it, you stepped into like a whole other world. So it was like the world of the painting. And I like the title, Moonborn, the Rosewater Incantation. So it makes it feel like this is almost like a light version of a dark ceremony, like when you read about dark ceremonies, like in H.P. Lovecraft and that. There's so much that goes on in here with the elements and that, but it's a lighter sort of palette. So it's kind of like the inversion aesthetically of what like H.P. Lovecraft sort of ceremony would be, and I like that. Yeah, like in the repose between worlds, a spell lingers, remembered for all eternity, where moonlight dreams in shades of pink. So you have these worlds opening up here and that, but it's not done in in the style that so many people do, where it's like, oh, the worlds opened up and everyone went insane. So, yeah, yeah.
Nice. Thank you, Robbie. All right, Pam, you got to read it. What about you?
Yeah, this is such beautiful imagery. I mean, it's captivating. I like how he uses the color pink and purple, but in different ways. Like it's not repetition. Like he's got peony, he's got fuchsia, the mention of rose quartz mist, also some really nice, gentle use of alliteration. This is mystical. It's magical. It shows us the idea of the magic that exists within both heaven and earth, and I think there's great lines throughout, but I do especially like where it says, something ancient stirs, grace dressed in fuchsia fur, wisdom draped in rosewater flames. Its gaze blinks, revealing the truth of things, turning silence into mirrors, mirrors into rose quartz mist. I like that idea of silence into mirrors, the idea that if we take time to be silent and reflect, we can see the truth of ourselves and the world around us. So beautifully written and very well done.
Nice. Thank you, Pam. I got to go with that. Oh, there's a lot in this, but bubblegum lanterns of carved, lilting laughter burn bright with spectral sparkles. They flicker, whispering words of what has gone and what will never die. There's a quiet note to children, or at least that note of kids before they are old enough to have their to be jaded about the world. That note of awe and mystery that sparkles imagination is quietly drawn right there with that thought of bubble gum. And I did this one here. The mauve moon spills its raspberry milk into the forest bowels, and every leaf drinks in peony prophecy. Even the salmon stars seem forgotten here, as if the cosmos holds its breath for one sacred heartbeat of eternity. Ooh, I love that stanza, but I did the finish that. And in the repose between worlds, a spell lingers, remembered for all eternity. Again, that note to imaginations and the possibility of what can be drawn when the imagination spills freely, as within this note of pink and deeper note of pink, when it walks into that note of purplish with mauve. So nicely done, Yumpy, and thank you very much. All right, Pam.
All right. Up next, we have The Coma Culmination Deviant by Lakota Brody. And go ahead, please, Rex, and give that a read.
Okay. Here are we. The Colma Culmination Deviant. So many peoples have starred in my life, blew through morning, noon, and night, with various essence, dressing up their presence with quintessence of being the most interesting, but alas, the all of them most certainly were deviants in one form or another, and because of this, I must confess that it is evident these deviants were most certainly expedient, always taking the state of disobedience into their hands. Now I know you're thinking, well, I'll be damned. It's all good because we're talking the hood. Deviants thrive because they being live, be living the life, no jive. Which brings to mind that song, You Can't Drive 55 to Stay Alive. Getting back to the deviant facts, the Church of Satan is part of a pact, the originator of which made his mark, enabling all deviants to take off their cloaks and lose their masks. Say hello to the first batch of Satanists, Catholic trash. The thrill of music, mystery, demonology, and all the deviance in what was, what is, and all that could be. Hell, take anything and give it a spin. Take a gander and let your mind wander because you will believe what you want to see. In summation, most of the interesting people you will meet are deviant in one form or another. Just think about your mother, that poem. And that comes up that most interesting people I have ever met are deviant in one form or another. All right, Pam.
Oh, she said she'd be right back.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
Robbie. A bit of humor in this one, a little playfulness.
Yeah, the end, like towards the end, everybody's a deviant. Just think about your mother, That kind of reminds me of Yo Mama jokes. Yo Mama's so fat, she has her own zip code, that kind of thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I think it's that idea that almost, yeah, like there is truth in that almost no one is purely like when we have our sensual shows here and that, like so many people have a kink of some sort or another, and that's why it makes me laugh when they're like, oh well, that's thick, and but the thing is like what one person's kink is like strong or something is like tame to another and vice versa, and that like it's up to a certain level at least, until you're getting into the really really strong stuff or whatever. It's all relative, right? And so I kind of got reminded of that a little bit, uh, and that yeah, it definitely has a lot of bite because talking about who the who the first batch of Satanists are, and I think that idea is like that. So few people truly keep to the values that they espouse, and a lot of times the people that it's like me think thou doth protest too much, right? It's that idea that the people that show themselves off the most as being holy or good, and that are the ones that the least are the least. I kind of thought about how there's one passage I never understood until recently in my life, and it's if you ever meet the Buddha on the path, kill him. And it's the idea that that person is claiming to be Buddha, and if he was really Buddha, he'd be humble enough that he wouldn't say he was, right? And it's like that, just leading by example. And it's the idea of like, don't follow gurus, and more and more I've seen that in life, that's become more and more of a warning, I think, in the modern age. Is anytime anyone claims to be a big guru, or they head up like this really kitschy trendy sort of self-help group, and that is, watch out, watch the hell out, because 9 times out of 10 they're up to no good, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, like this with this deviant thing, it kind of made me I think it was maybe more intended as the kinks of people and all that, as opposed to deviant, like like a deviant person, like in the more truest sense. But I guess like I either can apply.
True. I can
Yeah.
walk that. But I like this, how Lakota ran this. I mean, that opening stanza kind of walks that note of it being personal until you read it down to the whole thing and you get to the back end where she's dropped in that note of the most of the interesting people you'll meet are deviant in one form or another. Just think about your mom. The idea of throwing it back at you as, yeah, this isn't personal. It's just a bite at the quote from start to finish by making it look as if it's personal and then dipping into, so, well, that's interesting. And then that note here. Now I know you're thinking, well, I'll be damned. It's all good because we're talking the hood. Deviants strive because they be living the life, no jive, which brings to mind that song, You Can't Drive 55 to Stay Alive, back to getting back to the deviant facts. The Church of Fate is part of a pact, the originator of which made his mark, enabling all deviants to take off their cloaks and lose their masks. There's that, almost a quiet note there to that scene in Eyes Wide Shut, where reality is dawned in the moment in that big theater of all the deviants in their natural abode, so to speak, and thought and ideal right in that moment, which kind of walks that note of, yes, even here you could treat a sanctuary as a church, but that's still walking that note of deviancy. So Lakota played this up pretty good. I like it. Pam, you back?
I am. And the next poem we have up is COS Cares by Jack Queso 27. And it goes like this. Lilitu gave birth to drinking the first, while Lilith drew the line to lust without thirst. Veins whined like vines in vain to find the sweetness in the wine of spitting on life to live, bleeding on it to feed, and falling on it to rise. Coraled in a row to be bought and sold, empty, waiting like a seed, craving a voice with the owl's screeching soul, stolen to be told secrets folded in religious mysteries, like the sound of thunder, thinking the ground was home, forgotten when the story was old, slowly pulling skin off like quicksand lava that melts pain over the eyelids of madness, twisting thoughts into rubber knots, snapping back so fast before the twisted tongue in disgust burrows deep below the lip, chewing on bites from the insults of your spite. End poem.
Great read, Pam. Thank you very much. All right, Robbie, what do you think?
This one's. Oop, gotta get my mic here. This one's so unique in its imagery. Wow, it has this sort of almost like a pseudo eldritch feel to it because of the talking about Lilith. That's like back in the recesses of time and giving birth to drinking, and then it's talking about drew the line to lust without thirst. It's just so primal. It's like establishing like the first. It's almost like establishing the first rules of humanity, in that line. And I like veins wind like vines. That's some really clever alliteration tied in with imagery there, and this feels like very much, like, for some reason it makes me think back to the recesses of time, and it has when it says slowly pulling skin off like quicksand, that lava, that kind of gave me the primal feel too. It's just that the absolute peeling back of any sort of artifice, any sort of artificiality, and then snapping back so fast before the twisted tongue in disgust burrows deep. And it's like that idea where you're trying so quickly to hide what it is you just said, or like to just basically hide the ideas of what you're trying to espouse. And it's so like at the end when it says chewing on bites from the insults of your spite, that's just so reaching deep down in to again, I just think it makes me think of, like, when like someone covers their mouth after they just said something, and that's not gonna really do anything. Of course, you just said it, but it's this funny human compunction that we have, this sort of reflex. It's really weird when you think about it, and we all do it, and it just comes out, and you can't take your words back. Like, you can't cover your mouth after the fact and suck it back up. But what's interesting at the end here is I wanted the author's note. I wanted the title to be an optical illusion. It says scares and COS cares, but I don't want to lose it. Hang me. That's the thing. I wanted the title to be an optical illusion. That's really interesting to me. I guess because COS cares, I guess the illusion is that COS does care. COS doesn't care. But I'm just wondering what COS is. And
Church of Satan.
Oh, yes, Church of Satan, of course. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the illusion that Church of Satan cares. Okay, well, then that's the thing is like, because my understanding is with Satanism, it's ultimate individualism. You just live your life in a way that gets the best results for you, and whatever happens to other people, that doesn't really matter, because you have to live in your own best self-interest. So that's the illusion, if my understanding of Satanism is correct.
Nice. Thank you, Robbie. All right, Pam, you got to read it. What about you?
Yeah, great comment there, Robbie. I have to say, first of all, a new name to me, so I'm really glad that Jack here Jack Queso 27 was inspired. I hope to be reading more of them. I hope they're inspired to write for some of our other contests. I did like that title. I feel like the difference between scares and cares, like it's all about your perspective. I don't know if this is true or not, but I had read about how the Church of Satan has a drive to collect feminine supplies for women that are poor and homeless, which, if that's true, I think that is actually a wonderful thing to do. I have to say, that gets a thumbs up in my book. So but I like the rhyme and flow in this. Again, it's another one that hits hard. It's got these just captivating and powerful line. I like how often, like, it speaks on the idea of how oftentimes of being driven mad by the consequences of people's own spite, that whatever we put out, basically, I don't know, like, I feel in part it says that anyways to me, the idea of what we put out and comes back to us, even though I know that's not, as far as my understanding goes, not part of the Church of Satanism. I still feel like that's here within the layers. I really like corralled in a row to be bought and sold, empty, waiting like a seed, craving a voice with the owl's screeching soul. Those are really amazing lines that, to me, speak on the idea of trying to find your own voice, trying to find the magic within your voice, trying to find the power within what you have to say and the way it speaks up for yourself. So excellent write and very well done.
Nice, thank you, Pam. All right, I guess I got to start with Lilito gave birth to drinking the first, while Lilith drew the line to lust without thirst. Lilito is a demon from I think out of Mesopotamian lore, which eventually evolved into Lilith. So you get the double angle there. I like that. Now, the title, Church of Satan Cares and Church of Satan Cares. I also draw another note out of that. Cosplay cares and cosplay scares. The idea of dipping into the Church of Satan as an angle of cosplay to rid yourself of guilt when it comes to the actions that you actually dabble in, that angle of whatever, as do what thou wilt, so to speak. You can equate yourself by rolling it off your shoulders and off your back by saying, hey, it's all because of the Church of Satan. It doesn't really mean it's me. It's just a little cosplay fun and games, so to speak. So you can relieve yourself of the guilt of in being involved with the Church of Satan and doing that kind of thing. Was, hey, you know what? That ain't really me. But rolling it out as a bit of cosplay and rolling into that realm, hey, you know what? You might be offering yourself up to something that breathes all on its own. Why? Because you chose that angle. So you might think it's cosplay, but you're playing with something you might want to take a second thought about. So well, I thought that kind of played out a nice tone as well. But I'll give it a note. The cosplay angle's a stretch.
I like, you know what though? I like that. I like that. That was a really cool
Well, I can see it.
observation and angle.
I can see it for some people who go into that. Well, no, it's just a phase and a new thing to play with. Why? Because they're bored with everything else.
Mm-hmm. But that can be pretty much any religion or cult or, new thing that you take on,
Yeah, but
because
cults do offer up a speciality of stuff that, yeah, that'd be a bit of
oh
fun.
yeah, they offer up some weirdness too, that's for sure. Oh my goodness gracious, there's nothing darker than some of those cults with their Kool-Aid drinking and their, multiple wives. I tell you. But I did like your observations there. All right, so I do want to get up the last contest entry and have that read and commented on, since it is Monty G's, and because he did just step into the room not too long ago, or onto the board, we want to make sure to get him read and commented on. All right. So we have You Ever by Monty G. Point 25. And go ahead, please, Robbie, and give that a read.
All right. I was
Where,
multitasking for like 1
is
second. And I
Rex
was like,
still
oh,
with
crap.
us, or
I'm here.
no? Is Rex here? Because
Oh,
I don't
Rex.
see him.
Yeah, I don't see Rex anymore.
Oh, okay. He must. I'll bring him back on.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
but go ahead.
Start reading. Have you ever picked up what was a sharp knife and started cutting a tomato only to end up in strife? It took way too much to cut through when all of a sudden it cut you. Now you know what happened in the life of your wife. Have you ever come home with bags of shopping, then got out of a car that hadn't finished stopping? The park brake was on, so you thought, but it had never really actually caught. You feel a dill trying to avoid the spill of stopping all your shopping. Have you ever pulled up to a gas station pump and thought the next guy looked like a chump, when all of a sudden your feet were wet? The tank was fuller than it could ever get. Then the biggest dump came from the chump on the next pump. Have you ever gone out and forgotten to tie up your pants? Then in the mall, all of the other shoppers gave a good glance. You realized when it was way too late. That blunder had now sealed your fate. Then you went red in the head as shoppers took the glance at your pants. Have you ever felt that sudden, unstoppable urge to fart? You're by yourself in the shopping aisle with a full trolley cart. That strong urge feels disgustingly vile. You no longer care who's in your aisle. And let go like nobody would know, looking at the cart as if you did fart. Have you ever? Well, I never. Yeah, right. End poem. I tried to do a little fart sound at just improv at the last second, but it didn't work out. That I started laughing.
Great read there, Robbie. Thank you very much. All right, Pam. I'll forget. Monty took the quote. It's a shame stupidity isn't painful. That quite a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. Great read there, Robbie. Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, Monty has fun with so many of his rights. I like that book cover image that he has attached, The Psychology of Stupidity, explained by some of the world's smartest people. I don't know if that's actually a true book, but I don't know. It's just funny either whether it's true or not. This is a great humor, fun, entertaining lines with a dash of wisdom thrown in. I think, when you're going to give people some words of wisdom, it's always served best with a sense of humor. And I like how this right speaks on the idea that you shouldn't be passing judgment on other people's stupid moments, because soon enough, yours, if it hasn't already, will come up. You are going to have your stupid moments. And I got a big kick out of his AN. Let he who has not done anything dumb cast the first stone. Damn it, Ma, do you have to do that every time? And but this is has great lines throughout. But I especially like, have you ever gone out and forgotten to tie up your pants? Then in the mall, all the other shoppers gave a good glance. You realize when it was too late that blunder had now sealed your fate. Then you went red in the head as shoppers took the glance at your pants. Oh my goodness. Great lines and very well done.
All right, thank you, Pam. And Robbie, how about you?
I I got a laugh out of this too. I just imagining a guy going in through the malls. Everybody's looking at my pants. Why? Am I well hung? Oh no, I just forgot to zip up my pants. Never mind. So much for my inflating my ego. But it's so true that we always have that attitude. It's like, oh, the silly thing isn't going to happen to me. I'm not going to be the one who forgets to zip up his pants. I'm not going to be the one who does this or that. But sure enough, we all do have our own turn, and we really do. We have to laugh at ourselves when we do that. We can't take ourselves too seriously. And the thing is, when you do take yourself too seriously, it just makes you look more foolish anyway. And I like, especially with the first one, like the tomato and the knife, and it's like that idea that it can be such a simple thing that leads to you being foolish or feeling foolish. Something as simple as picking out a knife that's just a little too sharp. But I like that how it ties that. Now you know what happens in the life of your wife. So yeah, it's like tying that into another person, but in this case, a person who's really close to you, right? And so that makes it even more effective when it's somebody that's close to you that you remember that everybody has their turn.
Nice, Robbie. Thank you. I got to bite at those last three lines because they're perfect, and that last large stanza about the farts. Because you know what? Everybody's doing the fart things these days, putting on TikTok, YouTube, everywhere else, and having an absolute blast with it. Especially considering now you've got these new little toys to go out and have a bit of fun with it. Or whatever they call them, but it's become such an angle of playfulness now just to get the laughs out on the street, and that's the funny angle. Instead of denying it, you know what? They're just looking straight in the face and doing it and playing up the angle just for the laughs, which I find is, hey, you know what? Yeah, sometimes stupidity can be actually draw the angle instead of being painful, although you do get some shocked faces in the moment, and then the laughter pours out because they realize, oh shit, we've been had. So nicely done there, Monty. I do like that note. That was cool.
And great show tonight, Rex.
Yes, thank you, Pam and Robbie, for coming in. Monty, Yumpy, John, and Tim, thank you for the boards. Much appreciated. And come back next Tuesday. We'll do it again. What's for Twisted Tuesdays?
Twisted Tuesdays is the art of Furman Bays, and I could use some more rights. So, just go ahead, check out that artwork and see if you have something that connects with it.
All righty then. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Come back next Tuesday where we will do it again. So have a nice night and stop in and see a Phasiana Babbler tomorrow morning. Good night, all.
Good night.